We're working our way through the spiritual disciplines. First one, and maybe the one that most people think of first, is Bible reading, devotion time.
Yeah.
Had a sermon on it Sunday if you had more time. And your time was abbreviated because we had communion.
Of the Lord's Supper, yeah.
So only so much time in service. But if you'd had another 10 minutes, like maybe we normally would, where would you have gone with it?
Yeah, if I had had some extra time this past Sunday, I would probably just kind of, I would have given more personal anecdotes, like just different things from my own forays into doing devotions regularly and what I find helpful. But I mean, maybe first of all, and I was kind of maybe kicking myself for not mentioning it on Sunday, but I have another opportunity to mention it this coming Sunday when we talk about prayer. But I talked initially in the introduction sermon about the spiritual disciplines being kind of tools in a tool belt, weapons in your arsenal, like different things that you can press into. And I believe that's true. But I have to say that I think that devotions and prayer are probably, if I had to pick two absolutely foundational, absolutely necessary ones, because all the other stuff, I think, is going to flow out of a healthy devotional life, being in the Word, and also a healthy prayer life. And so, we're going to talk about things like meditation and fasting, and really hard to divorce meditation and fasting from being in the Word and prayer, right? We're going to talk about simplicity and solitude and the discipline of service. And, all of that stuff kind of flows from the relational foundation that devotions and prayer give us, that relational foundation with God. If that's not in place, then I would be highly suspicious of anybody doing the other things for the right motives. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so I probably should have brought that up this past Sunday. I certainly will this Sunday. Like some of the disciplines are like, for instance, fasting. You know what? There might be seasons in my life where, I really kind of want to dig deep, deny myself, really seek God's will for something. But, there's really nothing in the Bible, New Testament-wise, after Jesus comes that says, you know what, you absolutely have to fast this amount of time per week, per year, whatever. So that's maybe one that I wouldn't say is as necessary, as foundational. But, I'm not going to tell anybody, praying, you can take it or leave it. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, don't. And I'll probably say the same thing about being in the Word, right? Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So going to some of the other anecdotes that if I had time I might want to mention, and I mentioned this one to you the other morning. Kind of the idea of splitting up your devotional menu for the day in two sections. Maybe starting the day with a time of devotions and prayer, and then ending the day with a time of devotions and prayer. Something very attractive to that idea, kind of starting the day and closing the day, focused on what we need to be focused on, right? Mm-hmm. And I told you the article that I read actually talked about that as a practice to keep us safe while we're sleeping, because those are our most vulnerable moments. Don't know how far I'd go with that, right? Another strategy. Another strategy I might have mentioned had I had time, because obviously we jumped off from the Romans 12, verse 1 and 2, kind of that be transformed by the renewing of your mind idea. What if you just take a really small section of Scripture each day, but then commit to taking 5 minutes to read it like 3 or 4 times throughout the day. Maybe not to the point of memorization, but just kind of circling back to it, circling back to it, circling back to it as a way to really get it inside
Now
you.
you're kind of getting into meditation at that point. Yeah.
Right. And just from personal experience, when I'm starting the day with devotions in particular, it's a really beneficial centering time for me. And that's, the main reason's always got to be, I'm investing in my relationship with God, but there's all these other benefits that come. And, I'm a morning person. I'm one that wakes up and, man, I'm ready to get to it. But if getting to it always means, devotions first and then going, I find that I'm able to prioritize better throughout the day rather than just getting into something and, you're going 100 miles an hour right off the bat and then realize, I probably should have organized my time a little bit better. And so just kind of taking that pause to center yourself on God and, what God's agenda is for you throughout the day, I think is just beneficial. And, there have been times in my life when I'm not real good with devotions. And in retrospect, 2020, I've spent a lot of time spinning my wheels. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. But what about you? I mean, you're very diligent about your devotional life. Do you have a way that you would like to add, or do you have some thoughts?
I don't think I would describe my devotional life as diligent, to be frank. It ebbs and flows pretty significantly. There'll be seasons of really healthy practices, and then if I'm making a confession, long seasons of really no devotional life. So impactful sermon for me to kind of take up a practice again.
Okay.
But I would agree that be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's amazing how simple something like regular devotions, how something simple like regular devotions is transformational.
Right.
Like we think of, where do you see the word transformation? Like a house transformation on a building show.
Extreme makeover.
Yeah, and there's this like giant $1 million project, or we think of it in personal body transformation, and over the course of years and all this stuff you like. But it's like this simple thing, almost immediately makes an impact.
Yeah.
One thing someone mentioned to me a couple years ago was like, these people who, it seems like they're always able to make connections in Scripture.
Yes, right.
And you're like, man, they must know the Bible backwards and forward. But this person said, what I realized was they didn't know the Bible that much better than I did. They just read it every day.
Right.
And so the connections they were making
in the front
was
of their mind.
I read this today, and I see how that relates to my situation, and it's helping me kind of have a proper worldview or a frame of reference to kind of interpret this rightly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
As a negative example, many of us know, and this is part of my personal testimony, the negative impact media choices can make on our life.
That's probably a big one that I should have brought up.
And it's been true for me in many ways. But you think, music being one. Mm-hmm. Oh, I just like the beat, or I just like the guitar work, or whatever excuse we give to listen to music. And then you look back and you go, man, I was really formed to see the world through the lens of that content. Mm-hmm. I listen to a lot of rap that talks about women in a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm being formed to see women in a certain way. The same is true of Scripture. If that's what we're dieting on, that's how we're going to start to see the world. And it's this tiny thing. You mentioned, how long does it take to get through 5 or 6 chapters a day? 20 30 minutes. Yeah. And you'd be amazed at the transformation in that first day.
Yeah. And going back to something that you said, another thing, it's not just things that we might view as negative that we're putting into our minds. It's stuff that we would view as positive, normal. I mean, we talked kind of leading into this, and again, I didn't have time to kind of put this in front of people, but how many hours per week do we spend watching Fox News or CNN?
Yeah.
How many hours a week do we spend binging something on Netflix? That's just fine, but it's kind of like, boy, if we spent even a portion of that time in the Word, how much change could there be in our lives?